The provincial budget cuts have hit the Department of Justice hard. 147 employees lost their jobs, and the weight of the impact those cuts will have is still a developing story. Jennifer McCreath has been given her pink slip. She has a little over a week left at her job, and she joins me on the line now. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, thanks for talking with us. So, Jennifer, you're at work right now. What can you tell us? What's the overall tone in the office since the budget came out last week?
Well, I can't really speak for everyone, but I'll give you my personal perspective. Is there's definitely a lot of, I guess, stress and anxiety over the unknown. I don't care what business you work in, what industry you're in. Change management is difficult on anyone, and it's been a tough couple of weeks, specifically for temporary employees, not just in this office, but all around government. March 31st is the fiscal year end. That's the date when most temporary assignments expire. And there's usually a 2-week notice in advance to advise whether or not you're going to be let go or retained. And day by day kept ticking by, and nobody had anything to say to me. And it got to the point where I came into the office yesterday on April 1st, technically no longer employed, not even knowing, do I still work here or not? That's a tough situation to put anyone in, and it's not very nice either.
So how did you find out that you lost your job?
Well, I asked to speak with someone who could tell me what the scoop was, and I was actually called Human Resources. Each department has their own HR people, and they said, we are going to send someone down to meet with you. Sit tight. So I did. And so I had a meeting with the Director of Public Prosecution, someone from HR, and they gave me my formal written notice that, one, my position was being eliminated, but that under collective bargaining rights, I would be given an additional 10 calendar days notice, and it was essentially left like that. So my understanding is I am now working till April 10th, and I will then look to see if I can take advantage of something known as bumping. It's a provision in the collective agreement which allows people with more seniority to bump more junior people out of their jobs if it's deemed a similar job with a similar skill set. So I honestly don't know where I'm going to end up. I'm hoping I've got enough seniority that I can be moved somewhere else in the department. So we'll have to wait and see.
Tell us about your role in the department. What kind of work do you do?
Well, it's public knowledge that there was a Lamar inquiry that looked into, I guess, the operations of the Crown Attorney's office. And out of that inquiry came, I guess, further sub-inquiries, one of which is known as the Phoenix Report. And I'm actually reading off a public document. The Social Services Committee in 2008 had a meeting to discuss the creation of this record center as part of the Phoenix Report. And I was among the staff hired to come into this office and create and operate a record center. I guess I'm not sure how much familiarity your listeners have with the concept of information management and protection. It basically deals with, I guess, two issues. One is making sure information is accessible and available to those who need it in a timely manner in its right integrity. Two, it's the privacy of making sure the confidential information is kept from people who shouldn't see it. And as we evolve as a planet with technology, centralizing and electronifying records has kind of been the norm all over the world. And I guess they looked at this particular office and said it's time to implement that. So they created the Record Center, and most of my work is literally managing information.
So who will all that work fall to now?
That's a really good question. So by default, it can only really mean that other people will be asked to take on this type of work. I honestly don't know if it will, how much of that will fall on the lawyers themselves, how much will fall on their legal secretaries, how much will fall on perhaps anyone else in this office. I have my personal concerns about the ability to do this work. I guess it's ironic that they had this big inquiry to fix a problem, and now it almost seems like they're going back to the starting line again. So I really hope things work out for this office and this department, but I honestly have, I guess, the same concerns anyone else would.
So what about you, Jennifer? Will you have any trouble finding work in the fall after the fallout of these cuts?
That's honestly a very good question. This is not the first time I've actually been a victim of government layoffs. 4 years ago, I was cut by the OCIO. Ironically enough, after I was advised many times that my job was safe and secure. And I'm not perhaps your typical person. I'm a transgender person, and that has no impact on my ability to do work. But I understand it's a topic that a lot of people don't know much about. And again, it's change and it's fear and it's the unknown. I've had to work extra hard, not just in my employment efforts, but everything in my life. I have to work extra hard to get people to, I guess, open up to me, buy into me, trust me. And I guess the positive news for me is I've got a fairly good public profile in this city. And not just for being a transsexual, but for being someone who I'd like to hope has a reputation for being a good public advocate for the citizenship. I've been involved in a lot of nonprofit work, everything from animal rights to lesbian, gay products and services. And I've also toyed with the idea that I might run for city council, so that could be another potential. I think that would be most ironic if here we got the government saying we're laying you off, but what if the people were to say, yes, we want Jennifer working for us in that capacity? So sure, there's a little bit of anxiety with the unknown, but I'm honestly quite excited about the opportunities I see ahead of me.
Thanks for your time, Jennifer.
You're very welcome.